Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your favorite paranormal investigator. My name's Tim Sedano. This is Paranormal Insight, and today on the show, we're going to talk about a mishmash of various and sundry things in the paranormal universe. And with me, joining me at the start of the show is none other than the incomparable Michelle DeRoche. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Hi. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We were talking a little bit beforehand about the goofy things in the world that's been cropping up. And one thing that I didn't even know about, but what I wanted to start off with is this story about, it happened earlier in the year where there was this huge UFO and Bigfoot flap in Ohio. Right next to the Canadian border there, and apparently they were moving like kind of diagonally across the northern part of the state and up into Canada. And it was ongoing. It was for almost like a week and a half, something like that. And while it didn't hit the mainstream, it did hit the... Something is interfering with my picture here. Sorry. Well, it didn't hit the mainstream. I know, I need a better background. It didn't hit the mainstream, but it did hit the independent services and the paranormal reporting services. And it was nothing short of amazing that all this weird stuff happened right where this Bigfoot flap was happening. And I gotta say hi to people. Heidi joined us in the chat. Welcome, Heidi. Super fan Heidi. She's always here. It's fantastic having her here.
She's
too.
Awesome.
So they kept moving up. There was a huge UFO thing. There was a weird thing where this one asteroid or meteorite came in and it had a corkscrew kind of effect to it. It actually leveled off like it was a craft. It was bizarre. There were pictures all over the place about it too, but it was so suppressed that it disappeared off the main service, and real quick too. But again, there's this huge migration heading into Canada, and now in Idaho last week there's a return. So that's a bit of a loop between Ohio and Idaho. So it's fascinating to see that stuff. And then there's another show that suggested that there are multiple of these migration routes for the Bigfoot creatures. Because it goes through parts of California, like it stops at Ben Lomond, like not too far from me, like it's right over here.
Well, it goes up the Pacific Coast, and then
it goes up the Pacific Coast, well into Washington, all the way into Vancouver.
Oh my God, right? And getting to Oregon, like Oregon's a hot spot.
Oregon's huge,
Oh yeah, all of the, again, going up the Pacific Trail all the way up into Canada gets really crazy. They're everywhere, and I'm just kind of wondering. I think they've always been everywhere.
I think so too.
Yeah, I just think right now there's this interest, and yet you have Bigfoot researchers who've been there the whole time going, hello, like we've been doing this the whole time, but right now it seems to be really active,
it's really active. I mean, they're actually scared. A bunch of campers. Hey, Jen's in the chat. Welcome, Jen. They were really scared. Like they were under threat of attack. Apparently, a lot of bluff charges and all that fun stuff coming in from Idaho. So, I guess the theory is this is a mating path or migration of some sort.
'Tis the spring.
It is. It's interesting. There was the guy who actually has or claims to have, and he shows it all the time on his channel, the Bigfoot corpse with the missing foot. Have you seen that guy? Have you seen his corpse?
I have, and I've heard a lot of commentaries from researchers who don't really give it much credit, but
Yeah,
I'm
even the
not,
Bigfoot researchers. Yeah,
well, especially the Bigfoot researchers, like, okay, what? No, that's not real. And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not a Bigfoot researcher, so I'm just, I do two real cryptids with, Ron Moore and Daryl Denton, and they're wonderful. I've been learning a lot more about it, which has been great because it's something that's always been of interest. I've had my own share of cryptid experiences, but
sure.
not so much Bigfoot. Right. So it's
Yeah,
interesting hearing all of the experiences and how some of them are just so they're just so kind, and people actually have relationships with them, like,
yeah.
like leaving, they exchange little gifts and they leave food out. And then you get those that are just not having it at all. And then you
It's like,
got better learn the lingo.
yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Read the room, so to speak.
Oh my God. Yes, exactly right.
And
So
apparently there are two types. Someone put that out there recently, and I didn't know about this. There's the kind, friendly kind, like we were talking about, and then there's another version of them, like an offshoot or even just a subspecies. I don't know how you want to put it,
mm.
where they're just super aggressive. They will soon as bite you and eat you and
The
all the rest
males
of it.
are very aggressive, especially, if the females, if they're babies and their female is around, the females can apparently keep them in check pretty good. But then you're missing at least number three. Apparently there are more than that, I've been learning with different species. I'm just kind of like, wow,
Yeah,
but there's the Gugwe, and he's
yeah,
he's been seen, or in the land between the lakes, out like Tennessee way. And with that, I mean, there's an underground base, and they figure somebody's fudging between the dog man and the Bigfoot, because they all kind of aren't friendly to start with out that neck of the woods. But when you start deciding if you're hybridizing them, like there have been horrific things that have happened in land between the lakes. Lots of history there, lots of it.
there was and this kind of relates to, we were talking about this out the air too, that one trekker who had a dog man and or werewolf or whatever it was keeping pace with the truck.
Yeah,
And
he was
then,
on their show.
yeah, he was on your show. And I guess the creature, either he rammed the creature or the creature somehow tripped or something.
Nope.
Didn't he get run over or something like that?
Oh, then maybe it's a different guy, because this one, he had stopped off to do a repair on the truck, on his semi, and he got it going. And as he started going, he was only doing about 30 miles an hour. He looked back, and there was a very large dog man coming up, and this is Michigan. And he basically kept up to the truck. His window was open. Remember,
Yeah.
you know how high up like a semi
Yeah, big
is, right?
rigs. Yeah.
And he figured it must have been about 9 feet tall, got his head in the window
Yeah.
and got popped. And
Oh, that's right. He
dropped,
shot him. That's what it
and
was.
then dropped. So he went up further up the road, turned around to come back to say, like, get a photo or something,
Sure.
and it was gone. So
Right.
the time that it took for him to get around, all of a sudden there's a black Jeep there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there's no blood, there's nothing. I mean, it was quick, and they're like, how'd you get there so fast? Because there's national park, bases, missing
Sure.
411, that kind of thing. 4 years later, he got pulled by Homeland Security and said, you killed our asset.
Asset. Keyword right there. Yeah.
So that's the story. So yeah, but I mean, I imagine some of these things are, if this is a situation, would be tagged. And we also have, somebody else on the show who used to work for Homeland and another organization, and they're well aware about these things. And it's they're definitely there, and they're definitely, I would have to say, you would think they had to be weaponized or something, because they're highly aggressive.
Yeah. And I mean, if there is a transfer, hey, it's Jonathan's in the chat, Astra's in the chat. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining us. I also want to put this up in the banners before I forget. If you want to call in, if you want to talk about these subjects, I'm inviting you in the chat to join us. There's the address. You could sit in the green room. I got Michelle for the first hour, so just keep that in mind. I'll put it back up again after a little bit. So if I'll have this up after the first hour. But and I have invites to other folks out there too who may join us. I'm not too sure. But yeah, that is the same guy. I forgot it was a shot that took out the guy.
It was a shot, and
yeah.
it was a clean shot.
Yeah, very clean apparently.
Oh, yeah. If you see the episode of Two Real Cryptid Legends, you'll find it, and he shows, photos, of the weapon and such, and he goes into great detail. He doesn't do a lot of interviews at all. He just happens to be friends with Ron and Daryl, and decided to come on because he was really afraid for his life for a while.
I don't blame him.
Yeah,
that's a big thing. If you're using these hybridized monsters, and even if they're not hybridized, and you're using, say, straight Dogman or straight Bigfoot or whatever it is you're using, that is, if you believe the legends and stuff, there is a transformation involved. So these could be soldiers that were inducted into these programs.
It's it's very possible, right? We could go down a really deep rabbit hole. You also can go into really deep rabbit holes. I think I've done one show on this already with going real from the Wayback Machine into the ancient stuff with Dogman, and there's so much information. I would have practically have to cut a show in half to do it, but it's fascinating stuff. But, even with that, you can affect animals, can use infrasound. Cryptids are said to use infrasound. Ron Moorhead talks a lot about, the quantum side of all of that. Sure. So if that's the case, you would be able to affect them through infrasound.
Yeah.
The other way.
It'd be dog whistling, for lack of a better term.
Exactly correct. Yeah, and Bigfoot does as well. Bigfoot also.
Yeah. So if you can, I don't know, maybe like you said, there's a relationship there, or these are converted soldiers and individuals who were, inducted into that whole
Unless
side of things.
Between the lakes, and you got a half and half Bigfoot.
Oh my gosh! That sounds irresponsible.
Sort of. Well, good boys, just look them up. They're really aggressive. Yeah, really aggressive. So, I don't know.
Newfoundland wild baloney.
For sure, they love the treats. Yeah, we had guests on that would leave pancakes and stuff for them. They loved it. They did. They had the male was very aggressive, but the females and the babies, they would bring their babies to them, and the male got so aggressive that apparently, here's what happens. Like going back to kind of where we started, is that if one gets highly aggressive, at least in the U.S., and start have to start worrying about people, they'll go in and take them out.
Yep, they will.
Their special forces will go in and take them out. And these people we interviewed, they were witness to having to hear all of that. And to show you just how aggressive and how big this guy was, they said they heard shots for over an hour.
Ooh. Oh.
And they went in with like big guns, literally, like with really heavily armed. And it was still an hour when the shot stopped. And they took one out.
That's one.
How bad is that?
Come on.
Right?
That's insane. Yeah, with the level of firepower the military has, that's an impressive statement, because that's a special forces guy type of thing. So you're talking maybe eight to 9 guys max.
Yeah.
On a larger, presumably on a larger piece of terrain, over difficult terrain in a forest, presumably. I can imagine a lot of missed shots, especially if they can do what Ron Moorhead says and go between the trees, as it were. I can understand that happening. From strategic
it's wild.
analysis.
An hour and you got one that comes out, but they know where all of these clans are, so.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm definitely sure.
Like when they came in, they watched them come in. They knew exactly where they were going.
Oh yeah. There was a guy on one of the paranormal shows a while back. I I wish I could get him on the air. It was great. But they were saying, yeah, I was a ranger, and we were dispatched to someplace up north. I won't say where.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
a heavily forested area because we had a rogue Bigfoot, and they're getting the briefing on the chopper ride, right? So it's like, by the way,
Nice.
here's what you're
Yeah.
hunting. Yep, we going after Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Yes, they are real. Get that out of your head now. Here's here's the operational procedures we have to follow from this point forward.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
I mean, that was it. I mean, yep, they're
Can you
real.
imagine just dropping you off in the woods?
P.S. Yeah, this is
Heads up.
this is the strength, this is the weakness. Yeah. I'm just getting that
10
full
footer, no
breakdown.
problem.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah,
No, thank you.
yeah. It's stories like that that make me glad I joined the Air Force,
Right.
not the Army. Oh man,
And you guys got your own fair share.
we got our own problems. I know it gets wild quick.
Yeah.
Astrid asked an interesting question. How would you even use such an asset? Well, we were talking about that. If they are strictly dogmen or some dogman hybrid and there's a transformation involved, according to Native American and Native Canadian lore, that is the case. There's a transformation involved and they go back, kind of like a werewolf. Oh, Jen, I didn't do much in the Air Force. I was a cadet. I was still learning everything when they told me to leave. But I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Pass it on to a real combat vet who actually saw some stuff. I appreciate that though. I'll pass it on for you. How's that? I do appreciate it. It's still, yeah. I showed up. A lot of people. I've had real hardcore combat vets say, "Don't brush yourself off like that. You showed up." It's like, oh, okay.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, I showed up for sure. I did, but
own it.
at the same time, I don't feel as deserving of it as a combat guy who just got hammered every single day by all kinds of stuff, especially if you have to do the Bigfoot hunt. But I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
How would you even use such assets is the question. Well, like I said, if it was a soldier who was inducted, injected, bitten, whatever it has to happen in order to get them into the dogman state, or some sort of genetic splicing, or XYZ of any other way to make that happen, it would be a matter of telling the human, a soldier, to follow orders and bring that into the animal brain. And I'm sure there's a training process for that. If it's a matter of inducting someone who already has the condition and bringing them in, I think something similar would happen. Because we've heard over and over and over and over and over that the dogman especially seems highly, highly intelligent. Aggressive, perhaps, but they definitely have that human level of intelligence, and they can at least follow basic orders. Here's your objective, get there, take it out, come back. Okay. I imagine, or like Michelle mentioned, there could be an infrasound version of instructions being fed over there.
There have
super
been nice
sensitive
ones too, though. That's
Say
the
again?
thing. There have been nice ones as well.
Oh,
I've had
sure.
someone on
Absolutely.
my show, and he held a little baby dog man.
Oh,
And I'm like, I want to go hang out with you. Get me a puppy. She's like, wow, and and a lot of these were military people who went on to be police officers, and it's amazing that you get a lot of these guys out in the field now, and they're fully aware. But I mean, I think, this one guy, he was followed home. He goes, he was curious. That's all. It was curious. Like it goes, could have attacked my dog anytime, did not.
okay.
I mean, there are cases of that. Do you want to go find out if you're going to get a good one or a cranky one? I don't know. But I think if you are, there are different ways, of getting them. I think sound is a big one. I think, yes, what you've mentioned, there are ways. I mean, how do you train a person? How do you train a dog? How do you train?
Right.
There
Right.
there are ways, of training, and I don't know, zap collar. I don't know. Listen. But what do you use them for? Well, what would you use a super soldier for?
Right, exactly. So I imagine that would be something,
Yeah.
very. Oh, Patsy's here. Hi, Patsy.
Yeah.
Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah, but I imagine, like you said, there was a train. Like you said, you can even train a dog. Maybe there's a crossover training
There's
type of deal
there
happening.
might be nothing nothing that being zapped doesn't do from an early
There
age
is
if
the
you can
zapping.
catch
There's
them.
also
A chip in the brain.
chip in the brain. Yeah, that could be.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
they're able to operate through infrasound, that could be a delivery system. Infrasound reaches really far and goes through mountains and stuff like that. So you could probably deliver
yeah,
messages at the ultra sonic level or infrasonic level.
mhm, yeah,
So
yeah. Well,
yeah, that's
you have to ask yourself how fast that black Jeep got there when that dog man dropped,
they must have been
because
tailing him
the driver
really close.
claims, he goes, "I just went up the road, turned that semi around, and came
Yeah.
back," and goes played stupid.
Yep.
Kind of drove up and said, "Hey, you guys need any help?" Because they
Could
had something in their hand. And I says, "Probably a tag."
be.
He goes, "It was quick, and that cleanup was done." He goes, "They wouldn't have had normal time to
Yeah.
do that, because I didn't take me 20 minutes, man, 10 minutes max
To turn the semi around.
to come
Okay.
just to come
Okay.
around." Yeah.
That's saying something.
I don't
Some
know.
technologies like. Hold on, let me see. Heidi says, as I was thinking of some techniques I learned years ago, one was envisioning washing my hands 9 times a day.
Oh,
She's
talk about
amazing. Oh, I'm
Audrey.
sorry. They're talking about something else.
Audrey,
I
you
thought
got a
this
whole
was.
other conversation
That's all
going
our
on.
conversation. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just backtracked as you did.
Yeah.
But there's also incentive, like you give a dog a treat when they do get that type of thing.
It's
Uh,
true. It's true. But if you're
yeah,
looking at the natural intelligence, I mean, you can go back with Dogman. You can trace it back to the time of Anubis, to the
yeah,
time of hybrids, ET, half and half. You can go back to those images of Saint Christopher as a dog man.
sure,
You can
yeah,
get into a lot of different things, but these beings are said to be guardians. They guard over cemeteries, for example, or sacred places. So you're already dealing with an intelligence. If this is something that gets sort of passed down, like not just through the genes or things like that, right? Because I'm sure, I am sure there are underground places where they are getting them from very, very small. They're either getting them to breed and taking them as babies and teaching them the
sure,
way they want them taught as well,
sure.
because it's obviously happening, because he was holding on to one that he said it seemed to have been injured in the tail. And because I know mom was around. I said, the fact that you were alive to tell the story is a testament to that mom's patience. He goes, I
Yeah, no
know.
kidding.
He goes, it was weird. So there's obviously, he goes, I felt as though perhaps she knew, also being indigenous, that I was not a threat.
Gotcha.
Because Bigfoot, they apparently they sense you've got a weapon. They'll base it on that. Like, they know, they're telepathic.
Right.
I imagine Dogman would be much the same.
That makes sense. That makes sense. There would be, yeah, that does make a huge amount of sense, actually.
Keep talking in your head, people. If you come across it, talk in your head. They can hear
Talking in your
it.
head. A lot of people call it mind speak.
Mind speak,
And
exactly.
if you mind speak,
Yeah.
you'll be
Well,
okay.
yeah.
You may not get a response, but you'll
Yeah.
because your brain isn't wired that way. But I don't
Yeah.
know. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't.
Well, if they feel threatened, they'll hit you with infrasound. A lot
Yeah,
of people have gotten like sick, physically sick over being
sure.
hit by that.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. You get a wave of nausea. That happened to me a couple of times in the woods. So I wonder if I was getting too close to something.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
that makes sense. Yeah, because
You
it was
know,
out of the blue. It was just out of the blue. It's like, oh.
yeah, you're sick, you got the headache going on, you're bad
Yeah.
stomach and
Mm.
PTSD,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, it could be. So
Oh man. Yeah, it
it
could well be.
happens.
Could well be. Now that
Mhm.
I think of it, wow, I gotta go back to that area now. Better prepared with my cameras and stuff.
Yeah, just keep the thought going, keep the
Yeah.
conversation going. But come with food. You can leave it and
Come with
don't.
it. Yeah, I'll bring a stick of bologna or something.
Yeah,
Like Jen
apples.
recommended.
They like they like their apples. They
Peel off a
yeah.
couple of pieces, stick them on a rock here and there.
Yeah,
I like it.
they like trinkets because I remember Daryl was saying that he had found a little family and he left whistles. He feels that the whistles actually may have done more harm in the end because they started blowing them and they may
Gave
be
away
were
their
being found.
position.
Yeah,
Oh no.
right. He
Yeah.
said, but they're curious about little toys and things like that.
Wow.
So something to consider, even little buck store things, that they
Yeah.
can, go to secondhand store and just get something that they can tinker around with. And 'cause apparently they have a very big curiosity. Bigfoot's really curious. And they also have their babies too, and they'll introduce you to the babies if they start to trust you. But I'm sure that even they would be interested in something like that.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can show you something. So this showed up on my feed a few weeks back, maybe a few months back, and I wanted to share it with everyone real quick. Let's
The
see.
giggle.
This is gonna be fun. Oh, add to the stage, Tim, and it'll show up. So this is some footage that was, and it looks really good. This is AI. This is some of the best AI I've seen in my life.
Aw.
And it's a mother with their baby.
Oh my goodness. If that's
And
not AI, that's outstanding.
yeah, and I'm under the impression this is legit because the build of the mother, the fact that she's dirty, the
Mhm.
fact that he's dirty, and when they get a wider shot, you'll see that the leaves move as they should. There's no erroneous things, and yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
You
and the
could easily
trees.
mistake the baby for a chimp, but the mother is a different story.
Yeah, well, even how it moves the branches is interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think this is a very legitimate image. Very legitimate image. Look at that. That's just crazy. That's awesome. Oh yeah, you can see how the leaves move with the feet. Look at that. That's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's well done. If it
That's
is, kudos, but yeah.
yeah, exactly. But I'm
Yeah.
under the impression it isn't. I've worked with AI in the past, and
Mhm. Yeah, well, I
uh,
mean, apparently you can tell now,
yeah,
but I think
you
they're
can
just getting better and better with it, you
with
know?
the physics and everything. But yeah, that was probably one of the most eye-opening moments for me when it comes to looking at a Bigfoot a little family unit there.
But you know what, Tim? I think it gives you a different perspective that, people, I think if you're not versed in it, think, "Oh my god, there's this big thing, it's gonna kill me, it doesn't want me in its space," and
Hmm.
it can. I mean, they start tossing stones and stuff. I mean, you know, but I think when you see things like that, you get an idea like, no, they have families and they have nests and they
Yeah.
certain times of year they congregate together, and you have to think about the fact that, you're gonna start shooting them, and it is illegal in some states. I know California it is. You can be tried like you would if you killed a person.
Hmm.
So they do protect them to a degree. So if you just start going in there and with that sort of intent, you could just be leaving babies like that big male that we are talking about that was
Hmm.
had been taken out. Well, there was a small youngster, and there were baby twins as well.
Oh no.
So that's a family, but he was
Mhm.
so aggressive. Like, Buddy wouldn't even go on his own property. He's just like, "No, I thought we could get an arrangement going. It was
Mhm.
great with her." He wasn't having it. But over the years, like over the course of 5 years, he goes, "I just knew not to go into that certain area." And it was his property. So, but he said, "I didn't need it." He could, he was very territorial, but I don't know. Something must have happened over a period of time, and someone else probably got in danger,
Yeah,
coming in from the
maybe.
other way or something. Because I never saw anybody like come in from our end, but doesn't mean somebody didn't find a way in.
That's true. That's
So
true.
there are families.
Yeah, I love that. That's one reason I love the image. Is like, wow, they're actually showing the family unit. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's wonderful, and I like that, that when you're looking at, the connections with everything. When you mention, the migrating in these different paths, and from a research standpoint, um, people who have seen them often see orbs, or people who have encountered them see shadow people. Sometimes they'll see crafts.
Yeah,
So everything kind of loops around.
it does. It's interesting. It's like I don't know. Or if I'm going to construct a narrative that fits this behavior,
Yeah.
um,
Sherry.
Sherry's here. Hey, Sherry, how's it going?
Yeah.
Um, from the animal shelter. Oh, you're doing your Thursday thing. Okay,
Uh,
gotcha. Um, if you're going to construct some, if the UFO stuff is connected to the Bigfoot stuff and or Sasquatch, however it is you want to address them,
mhm.
um, it would say that if these are aliens coming into our space, they're there, they're dropping them off. Okay, here's the woods, here's the path. You know what to do. Follow your instinct.
Yeah.
Yada yada yada. And we'll pick you up later, like in Idaho, I guess.
Right.
But that's a big migratory path.
Yeah.
And that's just one supposition. I mean, I'm probably off base by a mile.
No, I
But
mean, I think you're bang on. I mean, I remember a whistleblower coming forward and saying that he was in an underground base and saw at the very bottom, he saw Bigfoot because it was just so big, just doing some stuff. I mean, if they're using portals or just able to kind of snip in and out through dimensions with ease, um, and one managed to get captured, they'd be down there. So I think maybe they're definitely dimensional or interdimensional beings.
mm,
The cave systems that go everywhere, and
oh,
they would easily be able to get around through cave systems. I mean, Bruce, the guy was talking to me about the baby dog man, said when he was in he came up in a cave and looked right up at a dog man. So that we know they're in there. He goes, and this cave went on for miles. Like he goes, the person who had that property, I think they were even asked by the forest people or something if they could just sort of gate it or gate around it.
mm-hmm.
And the fence was always taken down. It got bigger and bigger. Yeah, nope, not a thing.
Oh,
So,
crazy. All
so
right.
I think it just lends to that theory that you're using these systems as well.
Could be.
Mhm.
And like you said, interdimensional. If you need a craft
Sure.
to achieve that, that would make sense with all the UFOs
Or
and stuff
portal.
happening.
There
Portal,
have been
yeah.
remote viewers who have seen them use portals.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, doesn't mean they all do, but
Yeah.
definitely it's been seen. They just sort
Well,
of
yeah. There's that
switched on.
that famous story where there's Bigfoot tracks. That like they saw him in the window at a cabin, and when
Yeah.
they go out the next day, it had snowed the night before. So, but you see Bigfoot tracks, and then they stop
Yeah.
out in the middle of nowhere. They just
So
stop.
exactly. So you sort of have to wonder. This is what some people think. Now if you're in the woods, you might think, well, they could just jump. So there are some
Right.
researchers that will say no, it could just jump, like they can leap great distances, right? And I think you think you would hear it,
Yeah.
but
Boom.
yeah, right. Ground shakes. I don't know, but you do have that possibility as well for those who just can't get into the quantum side of things. But there's a belief that even animals technically can use little portals and just shift around.
Yeah,
So
my cats used to do that to me all the time. It's like,
Right.
weren't you outside 2 seconds ago? What's going on?
Well, it's funny because, we have a friend and that's what he has said, that there's the cat who keeps showing up and nobody can seem to know where it comes from. And he's very nurturing. He only comes around when, if our friend isn't feeling well, or he comes in to check on the friend.
Hmm.
And then they look around, like goes, there is absolutely zero way that it could physically walk out of the space. And then it's gone. And then turn
suddenly
around,
it's there.
that's back, So I think it's definitely a strong possibility. I think they're more advanced than we are, in their hearing, in their perception, in their sight.
Oh, yeah. We have
know.
diminished senses compared to them.
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say, and it's like yourself when you're doing paranormal investigating. How is your animal reacting? How is your pet reacting? I always say, if you have a dog or cat, yes, follow their lead. They will lead you to it every single time. If a cat looks like it's ready to freak out and the dog is staring at something, something's there.
Yeah.
Chances are it's very possible. Right?
My cat keeps getting into a fight with no one. There's a reason for that.
Well, maybe a little off, or maybe somebody's visiting, playing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you've seen some of those videos where the cat is near a baby cradle, and then the cat loses and starts going after something that's not there, and being very protective of the child.
It's true, and they're little guardians, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think there's literally, I've said it for years, there's a whole other world going on out there, and some of us just aren't made privy to it, or we're just not paying attention. But animals always know. Always.
Yep, they do. They really do.
Right.
Oh.
And they often get victimized because of it, because they can't speak for themselves. Mm-hmm. So you end up with an attachment or a really nasty spirit. They will get abused because they can't speak for themselves. All you do is you notice the behavior. I've been contacted throughout the decades of people saying my pet isn't acting right. There's something that's not right. You have to treat it as though you would be working with a person as well.
Very good. Very well said. Very well said. Heidi's been experiencing something similar. Her cat, Paws Malone, great name for a cat, kept tapping her leg to tell her the front door was open.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Kudos. And now they got the pad. Someone figured out the idea. Hey, if the cat could talk, and now they got the step pads. It's like, there is a problem.
help.
Yeah. Right.
I think it's brilliant.
Me too.
Yeah, I think it's great.
And they have weird associations with words sometimes, which is interesting. There was one instance where a dog had one of those pads, and it said, "Ouchie sick, ouchie sick, ouchie sick." It's like, what are you talking? Show me, ouchie sick. And it turns out I coughed up a fur ball or something like that.
Right. Aww. Poor thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think animals are brilliant. I really do. I think that if you remember Coco.
Oh, yeah. Coco was amazing.
Brilliant mind. Brilliant mind.
Yeah.
Trying to teach world peace. Before I'm sad, humans. I love humans, and they make me sad.
Right.
I thought, oh my God, give him a Nobel Peace Prize.
Right, exactly.
Coco's brilliant.
Coco's amazing.
Yeah. So, but it goes to show you. I think Bigfoot is highly intelligent, and there's a lot of studies being done around that as well. And as far as DNA goes, they always get the maternal, but they never seem to find the paternal.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Yep. And they're starting to do that with Dogman. Same idea.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
You have to look up the work for Dr. Melba Ketchum.
Remember that word, ladies and gentlemen, that name.
Just go look up go on my channel, find 2 real cryptid legends, and Melba. I mean, it's not the most common of names. Very probably goes back. I mean, the show's only going to be 16 episodes in, so you probably go back to maybe the somewhere between number 5 and 10, and you'll find her in there, and brilliant. And you'll find out exactly who she is and how highly respected she is in the field of DNA analysis, even through working out through DNA through the courts of California for criminals and such. And she does this as well, and she's also has her own family that are close of Bigfoot. And
fun.
It's very very interesting. Like I said, I learn a lot for two real cryptid legends. Yeah. So it's very, very interesting, the things that I have been learning about Bigfoot and Dogman, and just how highly intelligent they are, how sensitive they can be. They get angry, the things, if you're hearing, like we had this caretaker on one of our family's properties, and he was part indigenous and shaman, very shaman like. So 5 o'clock in the morning, one morning, he hears all this tree knocking. They're in the area. They're in the area, right? I warned him ahead of time, so it's possible, because it was 100 acres and there was a lake on the property on that acreage, right?
Perfect.
So I said, just saying. So all of a sudden, he tree knocking at 5 a.m. It's pitch dark, and he's just like, because I know nobody's taking a tree down right now. I know it. And so the next day, he's out there doing tobacco offerings.
Oh
yeah. Yeah. So did you ever have any problems? He goes, nope. But I didn't go looking for problems either.
Smart.
Yeah. And then I started seeing videos on Paranormal caught on camera from that exact area.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a troublemaker, so I sent it to him. This might be your guy. Great.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
It wasn't for him. He didn't last long.
That's too bad.
Things might have heated up a little bit, but but it's the same situation. It's it's 100 acres. It's attached to another 300 acres, and then there's all government owned land. And right behind that is a huge national, like what we call a provincial park, national park for in the U.S. And allegedly, under that park, need I say more? So they always seem to, they seem to end up there, like underground, and so it makes you wonder, if you're in that area, how are those cryptids going to behave? Different maybe than if they're in an area where they don't have that same sort of monitoring, I'm thinking.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And you have an ideal spot too in that 100-acre plot. You got a lake there. There's lots of all kinds of game and fish.
And right next to that, to like the neighbor, they have a cave up on their property, so they could see down to the lake. So there's a lot of heavy traffic in there.
Nice.
Trail
cams. Put your trail cams up.
Oh yeah, the neighbor has them up there, and it's funny because there was this squatter on part of the acreage that they found, and he was like traumatized.
Really?
Like, oh yeah, they're like, you have to get off the property. He goes, I just lost it. He goes, there's stuff out here.
There's things. I'm telling you, there's things
out here. Oh yeah, no doubt. He left, never came back. That's for sure. Even his dog got wigged out and attacked him one night.
Really?
Yeah, he probably picked up a scent or something, because you know how pungent they are, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've smelled them before. Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah. So this poor guy gets attacked by his cane corso. Like, they mean
business. Oh, no.
The dog
Why aren't we leaving?
I know. So, yeah.
Good times. Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's too funny.
Yeah. So people are definitely getting more sightings then from what you're saying with this migration. There's more people who are maybe going to witness them. And how do you deal with that? Because if they're doing a migration, because let's say it's springtime, time to get the family unit worked on. Like, I would not want to walk walk into one of these areas,
Yeah.
even like by accident. That's not
Well,
on purpose, it'd be worse.
if you take their perspective, the Sasquatch perspective, you're walking along at night, you're on your path, and you see a fire off in the corner with a bunch of people around it. You're gonna okay, the fire's a problem, so you're
Yeah.
gonna check it out and get closer, and maybe if you can scare them off, you will. That would be my take. You know.
Yeah.
That the idea would be to scare out the people, snuff out the fire, and move on.
And if you had a hose, with a
Yeah,
bucket of
exactly.
water, would you
We should
really want
introduce
to?
them to fire extinguisher.
Yeah, would you want to poke the bear, or would you think you should back away?
Right,
Like,
exactly.
you see something big and hairy standing there. It's like, put the hose away. Like, like you don't go looking for it either. But I mean, if you're getting into a migration thing, apparently, from what I've been told before from people I've interviewed, that when they start getting into groups from different clans will come in
Mhm.
during mating season or birthing, like, the nest for birthing and having
Sure.
families. And if that's the case, and you're getting them coming in from different areas at certain times of the year because they are mating
Yeah.
and they stay together, maybe it's safety in numbers, I don't know. And I'm sure it's not all of them, but some of them have traditionally, they go in groups and they'll see more than just one nest in some spots.
Yeah. There
You
was
know?
that show all about Bigfoot. I can't
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And they
I
were
know the
up in
one you mean.
Washington State, and they saw like groups of nests,
See,
big
that's what
ones
I'm
too.
saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So, what do you walk? Do you just walk into that, turn the
It,
heck around, and
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I don't think you want to
To
be in the
stick
middle of
around
any
for
of that.
science sake, I thought was brave or stupid or both.
I don't know. I mean, I guess if you understand,
Yeah,
I guess if you understand, what you're looking at or what the sounds are, what the behavior is about, because you're a seasoned researcher, you can get in there, have a look, and what the faux pas are, and,
yeah,
but if you don't know, if you're just out there hiking, if you're looking at the Pacific, I think it's the Pacific Crest Trail that goes down from California all the way up, right? It's like, what
yeah,
is it, like 3,000 miles or something?
yeah. Oh,
But
it's way longer than that, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, the thing is what I'm saying is you've got some people who are seasoned hikers,
yeah.
but you know, I just interviewed one, and she was awesome. She was, "Oh, I've heard some things, and I've seen a print or two."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, "What'd you do?"
Tell me you
I
had
didn't
some
go
plaster
looking
of
for it.
Paris on you.
Yeah, don't go looking for it. I don't know. Like, I often think to myself, like, what would I do in that situation? I grew up near mountains.
Yeah,
I'd be like between 8 and 10 years old. It wasn't uncommon for me to go sit up in the mountains by myself because I grew up in a valley, right? I could look down, I could see the lake, I could see my house and the neighboring mountains. Like I said, I've told this story before where I'm having an apple and I've got a timber wolf on the next mountain, not far from me. I could just swoop down and go over, and he just trying to watch me. And I was taught how to behave around wolves and bears, things like that.
sure.
And I just pitched him an apple, put my head back down and kind of watched from the corner of my eye. He grabbed the apple, he ate it, and then I said, I
He ate
just
the
went down.
apple. Oh, that's
Oh
crazy.
yeah. And then he ate the apple, and then I just went down after that, down to the went home. But what would I do, with a Bigfoot? I'm learning a lot.
Similar, maybe that's a similar pattern though. Toss the apple, eyes down to seem, I don't know, non-threatening.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's
Well,
it,
that's how gorillas work.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. Like I think to myself, it may happen at some point, like down this way. I mean, we have them all around, Canada. Dogmen are the same. We
Mm.
also have like in Canada, they'll call them loup-garou. New Orleans, they
Rougarou.
call them roux-garou. But in French, a wolf is a loup, Loup.
Oh, Lugaloo. Oh, okay.
Loup-garou, right? And
Yeah.
we have a species here that is what I like to should say race here, that they're just tall and lanky, and when they run, they lope, and then they can stop and stand upright. And we've seen them, and I know
Hmm.
people who've seen them. I've talked to people through the years who've seen them, and they walk upright along. And then we have the traditional dogman style. But the Loup-garou, I mean, been going. I mean, they're indigenous stories going back to the 15, 1600s throughout
Yeah.
different parts of the country.
Sure.
They're still going on. Whereas a dogman in Canada, they trace back to coming here from France, like back in the day.
Really
Yeah, some of them coming in from France. Like
interesting.
they call it the typical werewolf type, you
Yeah.
know. But
Well, that kind of tracks with the first sighting of the Bray Road Beast, which was described as a dog man.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Well, we
out in
have one here.
Wisconsin.
It's called the Port Robinson Beast.
Ah,
And it's near the falls, and it's close to a place called Fort Erie. When they put in the Welland Canal, right, which is where
mhm.
all these big liners come in from one ocean across the Great Lakes and make their way out the other way,
Yep.
um, it split the area in half. So there were no bridges. You had to go around certain ways to get from. They split like the city right in half. It's crazy,
Oh wow.
and it's been seen. This thing has been seen around and very aggressive as well. So it's like,
Yeah.
great.
Good times.
Yeah, wonderful. So,
uh,
so we
tra-
know they're there.
trail cams, Michelle. Trail cams.
I know. Well, it's not my area. I mean, I don't live near there, but it's yeah. I mean, one girl, she was just there with a friend, and they saw some boy running out of this place that's supposed to be allegedly the haunted house of the area, right in the
Sure.
woods. And they got chased out. They saw this kid run out, this young teenager, and,
Mhm.
and there these just like run. And they got in their car, and this thing paced them. And
Really?
they were finally able to get away from it. And she goes, "We made it home." Dang, the next day, there are these huge scratches down the car. Headlight was all like apparently mangled or something. I'm just like, well, they track. But the guy I interviewed, Bruce was saying at the same time when this thing tracked them 20 miles. Goes, "Oh, yeah, he showed up. He showed up at the house, or she showed up at the house. It found
Okay.
me. It found me. It was
Got
on
the
the roof of the
scent.
car. He was on the roof of the car."
Oh
And then he
no.
was able to get away, and I guess it popped off, and they followed him because I was 20 miles away, and it found me.
Yipes. That's
I
determination, man.
know. Oh, just how curious was it, Bruce?
Well, I mean, where did Bruce live? Was he in a suburb or something? Were there neighbors, or
No.
was he out in the sticks?
Yeah, well, he lives out near the mountains for sure, but he goes, "I'm not in the woods. I'm
Okay.
not far from them." But I mean, this is a major like a major
Mm.
road. Did nobody not see this thing running after
Wow.
me? Like, what is
That's
that?
insane. That's
I'm like, "You're
insane.
kidding." He goes, "No, it was like daylight."
It was daylight too.
Yeah, it showed up. It showed up that night, but it was like 8 o'clock or something at night. But you didn't catch the interview for all the exact details. He goes, "But it was daytime when it started, and it tracked me, like it found me." I'm just like, unbelievable, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Yeah,
that's so fun.
I know. Well, it depends on which
Well,
end you,
for us.
which end you're on. Yeah, for us, not so much for the person being tracked.
All right.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, man. I guess
Yeah.
those animal senses are working.
I guess so. I guess so. But it was wiggy. It really was. It was
Yeah,
wiggy.
man.
But it goes to show you there's a degree of intelligence that's, even the way they come together, in these cycles, and maybe you have them, all congregating in one area, having babies, and then over time, because I don't know. We're saying, was it a week later that they started moving around again, or was it
Oh,
just
it was more like months.
okay? See, so I'm wondering if they went something like a nesting ground
Yeah,
and then returned. To me, that would make sense if they're all kind of going to one area where they feel is safe,
sure.
and then you
And
have those.
Canada's nothing but forest practically. So
Oh, I know. For
good
now,
for now.
for
Uh,
now,
uh,
yeah, yeah. Well, I
but
mean, I
Yeah.
think it's wonderful, if they are. But again, there's that. It shows you how there are some races or species that tend to be migrational and they just move back and forth. I never would have thought we would have had them in this area, but apparently, yeah, you got them in this area.
Mm, yeah.
Who
I
knows?
was. Yeah. It's amazing. They've been seen. Well, I smelled mine in Saratoga, which you don't know my area that well, but it
Yeah.
is right now. It's at a place called Sanborn Park, and it's at the tip of a national forest.
Oh,
So that's kind of like the playful, human safe area. There's manicured lawns and hills and stuff, and around it just pine forest.
oh,
So,
yeah, a perfect
but
spot.
perfect spot. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love
Rock
it.
has to leave. Take care.
Yeah, I know. I think it's something that once you're aware, you'll start noticing more and more. And I think people are becoming aware. I think they're paying more attention.
Which is great. I mean, at least I'm not shooting them anymore, per
Well,
se,
that we know of. But do you
that
think
we
it's
know
because
of.
like we have all these fires that happen all the time. We
Yeah.
have population infringing, on different areas or territories, and then maybe we just have more people going out and looking. So I think like are we driving them out or are we attracting their attention and are they getting used to people perhaps? Are they
Well, it wasn't too long until we started seeing coyotes and vultures, and at least in my neck of the woods,
Yeah.
so to speak, coming down from the mountains and just hanging out in the street.
Wow.
It's like, really? It
Yeah.
doesn't happen that often, but it happens
Yeah.
often enough. The occasional mountain lion, they'll just come strolling on through like they're the
Yeah.
neighborhood pet. It's kind of weird. But
Yeah. Well, yeah, you start seeing all these surveys being
yeah,
built, we're infringing on their space.
for sure, for sure.
Mountain
Michelle,
lions.
Michelle, thank you
Yes,
so much for
yes.
being on the show. I know you had to leave because you got
I
an
have a
appointment.
meeting. I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
know. Yeah, I
It's all
know.
right. It's a good
But
topic.
thank
So,
you.
why don't you tell everyone real quick where they can find you, real quick?
Well, you could, find me on the Outer Realm tonight, actually, 8 p.m. Eastern Time with Marilyn Hughes and talking about evil is closer than you think.
Ooh,
There we go, right there.
I might join you.
There we go. Be good. Be good. Yeah. So that's that.
Okay.
Outer Realm, Beyond the Outer Realm. Thank you all, and I'll see you tonight to everybody. And thank you, Tim.
No, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to say goodbye to Michelle for now. And we will see you in about 2 minutes. We'll take our little break here real quick. As soon as I find the button where all that is. Oh, if you hit the right button, Tim, this is a common thing for me. It's a little... Here we go. This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN talkradio.com. Esoteric programming at its finest.
Long ago in the ancient world, the Trebus Omnes Lux, later known as the Tridents, were celebrated heroes, defenders of humanity against unspeakable monsters. Today, they continue that sacred duty in secret, hunting the dark evils that lurk just beyond the shadows. They are the Trident of Light.
Introducing Story TV, enabling true creative freedom for independent creators. Search an ever-growing library of fantastic festival winners, including Blaney Tucker's Ghost and the Monster Hunters of the TOL. Free to enjoy at lower resolutions, pay $5 per month for 1080 and full K presentations to support the artists you enjoy. Your monthly contribution actually goes to the filmmakers themselves. Support independent film. Support Story TV. Check out our Patreon. Get deeper behind-the-scenes insights. Also, tips into being a better paranormal investigator, and other fascinating content. Follow us on Instagram at paranormal.insight. Stay informed on upcoming shows, see what paranormal trends we're following, and help us reach 50,000 followers by liking, following, and sharing. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube at paranormal_insight. Click the live tab to see our latest videos. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. It's just me now. Michelle had to go. She had her appointments and her stuff in her life to get to. So I want to thank Michelle very much for being on the show with us. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in. We got another hour left in the show, and I wanted to tackle briefly, kind of oh my goodness, kind of tackle the larger, not issue, but the story of what's out there. And with this, I bring you this video that popped up on the feed not too long ago. So let me add it to the stage. Let me zoom in a little bit up here. And I want you to look at this guy. Okay. For me, this is pretty obviously a person in a bush, holding a big raggedy creature because he drops him halfway through. Yeah, this is great. You can also make out the shadow of the person dressed all in black, holding this creature as they do it. But there's a lot of crazy stuff out there that is going on that you know, people are putting up fake stuff all the time, obviously just for entertainment value or whatever. But I will also show you this, and this happened at Waverly Hills Sanatorium, room 502, as they say here. And I'm gonna go anyway. So I'll let that little video play through. David down rabbit hole shared this, and I am resharing it here, and thanks to him for being such an avid researcher of this type of thing. And so while there is a story behind this ghost, I still find it interesting that this capture was presented, because look, that's amazing. That is just an amazing capture. And when you zoom in on it, it's something else too. And these are just researchers walking around Waverly Hills, and they, you know, whatever this light anomaly is, it could have been one of the investigators with the flashlight and just happened to highlight things just so. And if you look carefully at the paused image, this is a nurse. And this is a nurse from the 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever it is. And they always wore that weird little headband thing, whatever that is. And it checks. For me, it checks. I mean, it could have been staged. Absolutely. But the fact that she actually is somewhat transparent as she transitions, I wish I had better control over the image. But look, she's, yeah. So what I think happened was, and this guy's theory is notwithstanding, could have been, they say it could have been someone investigating with their phone, but she's not holding the phone. She's holding the clipboard. So, and there's a researcher right there. That I'm using it a little bit more. It's blurry as all get out. But, so, okay, now we know where the light anomaly is. It's her taking a picture of the hall, and the video caught her from a distance with this nurse apparition. And you'll notice she doesn't jump at all because she didn't see her in real time. Just amazing stuff. One of the most authentic captures I've ever seen. So give that one a thumbs up on what's out there and what's being caught. This is the Bigfoot Idaho thing. It's a little animated. I'm not going to bother because there's no actual photos, but do want to show you guys this. Now, this is remarkable. Everyone, I knew what was going on because I'm a filmmaker and I can recognize some of the trademarks, but I'm going to let this person
seen over
talk.
30 million times across the internet.
Okay.
The concerning part is how many people think it's a real video of a girl going missing into a portal back in 2001.
I want you to listen to this.
Video where she placed 2 mirrors together and something really strange happened.
Created a portal to a secondary location in another. Jump down to a pyramid.
And people reporting on it.
Hundreds of videos, blog posts, and
there's-
conspiracy forums have been circling this video for years now. A lot of people do think it's fake, but they still believe that it was shot back in 2001. A lot of people think the whole thing's AI generated, and a scary amount of people think it's a real story. The truth is, it was shot right here in my bedroom back in 2023, not with a camcorder, but with my Sony a7 III. The handheld camcorder shots are filmed through fake mirrors and some strategic whip pan hidden cuts, while the Infinite Grocery Store was built in Blender using a bunch of 3D scans from my local Walmart. It's one of my favorite projects I've ever worked on. I pinned it here if you want to watch the full original. My Backrooms-inspired short film has been seen over 30 million times across the internet. The concerning part is how many people...
Yeah. So she goes on. So there's the actual filmmaker herself, and there's her video up here. I'm so entertained by this because I was very impressed by how authentic she made the video look. She made it look like 1980s or 1990s video, handheld video, and it wasn't, obviously, and I had an inclination that it was, you know, a piece that was generated for her reel, so to speak. This is the small little adventure I made, and she did some brilliant things when she she takes a LiDAR pass of her Walmart with all the stuff and builds the store based on it. Man, that's the greatest thing in the world. Just the greatest thing in the world. And so this actually kind of brought up some of the backrooms things we've heard of. Hidden from, okay, that's something else. Let me pause this for now. When we talk about backrooms and we talk about, there's actually a film coming out about backrooms. I mean, and it's this is more in my, yeah, there it is. More in my vein of outside of the paranormal. So we're talking about, yeah, the creativity is amazing. Absolutely. Yeah, you always got to question things, hiding good investigative instinct. But when we talk about backrooms and stuff like that, there's been a ton of backroom stuff when it comes to, so there's, and now that the film's coming out about backrooms, it's all you can see. It's all you can see. You know, very rarely do you get the original stuff, because you know the film's promoting, but it's just crazy stuff. But some of the other backroom stuff, the earlier backroom stuff, which I'm trying to find right now. Backroom, earlier videos. Other, maybe the word other would help as I do an internet search on live TV. But we've seen the different types of things out there where they're short film, okay, where they're going through down chutes or down hallways. They find old labs, and then this weird creature out of nowhere, I mean, pretty obviously CG, at least from my perspective, comes charging after them. and they have to scramble back up the chute they came from or find another exit. It's amazing. It's very well done. And there was the one, I think my favorite one was the one done in the mountains, back room in the mountains, where this dude's hiking along and said, hey, I've never noticed this shaft here before. And it's one of those covered deals, so he opens it up and peeks inside, and he either pretends to slip or slips, and he falls down. Well, he doesn't drop the camera. That was kind of the giveaway, among other things. And he really, and they just won't let it go. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm having a hard time finding anything that's not the movie. So, anyway, I guess I'll have to abandon that idea. But, sorry, my nose is just a little bit. The, Carl's here. Woohoo! Thanks for joining us. But, I mean, the idea of the back rooms being so mysterious, like it's an abandoned underground military underground military base. One thing I noticed is there's a lack of signage in a lot of these places. Military bases, if you've ever been on one, especially on an interior building with a lot of hallways and stuff like that. Like, I'll give you an example. I worked at the local NASA outpost out here called Moffett. And lots of those tunnels. And you could easily do the whole backrooms thing in one of those facilities. But the signage is intense because it's everywhere. If you want to go to the labs, they're over here. If you want to go to, lab research, whatever you go over here. If you want to go to administration, it's over here. But the signage is everywhere. So that was one thing lacking from a lot of the backroom videos. Where this, including the piece we just saw, is supposed to be an alternate dimension. Which, and I blink at that because I don't see the logic behind building infinite back rooms just to scare the living crap out of mortals who happen, or we people, or however you want to put it, just to fall into and trap them in a labyrinth like a minotaur. Personally, that doesn't make sense to me. If you were finding out some secret stuff, that would be fantastic. Briefly, I want to get back to... God, that's a weird specimen. And I see what... Sorry, I'm looking at the Bigfoot guy here.
Yes, testing it.
Okay. So, this is the guy who thinks his Bigfoot is real, or continues to claim his Bigfoot is real. And I paused it because we don't need to listen to him, to be honest. His basic claim in this video is that the Bigfoot body he has displays characteristics that make them copper-based, not iron-based. Their blood is copper-based versus us humans who are iron-based. And I only pulled that up on accident. But one other thing I want to get to, and this has been circulating like crazy, and for me, it's not a real video, or if it is a real video, they got a weird method of transport, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about here. So this is somewhere out in Texas, and I say here, right here, if you can read it. Oh, I deleted it. Sorry, but I said the collision lights are suspicious. Only, maybe aliens have collision lights. But the flashy lights, you'll see what I'm talking about. I'll play it for you.
No sabes qué, quiero el cargador.
Okay. And then it flashes out. Okay, that's the part that makes me go, what? So here's a close-up of it. And it's going to take on two drone things. But look at the flashing. For starters, it's inconsistent. Usually they're a little more consistent than that. So it takes on these two drone things, and then it'll flash. It kind of looks like Moya upside down if you're a Farscape fan. So it's going to sit there, and then it'll flash in a moment. This is in super slow-mo. Whoosh. Okay. Yeah, got a problem with that. Got a problem with that big time. So why collision lights? I mean, they could have collision lights. We have collision lights for that reason. The pattern was weird, though. But again, if it is alien, if this is real, okay, fine. I can, I guess, acquiesce to that. But it's the flash. I don't think I've ever seen a UFO actually do that. And if I'm wrong, let me know in the chat. Because, I mean, the whole circling orb thing when 302, Flight 302 is recaptured, there's a weird flash. The flash. Yeah, man, that gives me pause. I think if that flash were occurring when whenever it came to these different types of aerial craft, you would see a lot more flashes around. There would be flashes all over the sky all the time, or near the ground, or wherever it is, whatever's happening. So for me, the flash is the largest giveaway. Never mind that this thing looks like Farscape's Moya, but pointing downward. And it has collision lights. Okay, that's it. I'm done tearing that one apart, so to speak. But I mean, debunking these things is just becoming really, I don't know. Okay, so there's lots of stuff here. And we're getting into the demonology, and we're getting into... Okay, that's another thing. Aliens are demons, and demons are aliens. I don't really think that's the case. I think I talked about that before, so I won't retread. I will not retread that. I love this footage. This is the Ronnie Hill case. Showed an alien walking with a ball. A giant ball. Or an oversized helmet, depending on how you want to look at it. Now, here's the other side of that. I think this is largely faked, because there's an arm right there that pops out the other side. So what the heck's this thing? Okay. So, I mean, it's freaking bizarre, I'll say that. This is from 1967. And it wouldn't be that hard to film this. I mean, not really. It could very easily be a person in a suit. Yeah. See, whatever this thing is they're carrying with them is, I don't know, somehow attached to them. It's just a bizarre... That's the only thing that throws me out. I was like, why are they carrying this thing? Why are they carrying it in an attached manner? But that's easily a kid or a very skinny individual in a suit. To me. But nonetheless, kind of fun. Kind of fun. I think I talked about this last time, but this is what happens when you point a laser. I did talk about this, but it's worth revisiting. Don't point lasers at UFOs. So oh yeah, look. Holy crap. Yeah. Don't do that. So it flashes and then it fires and it fires another one. Oh my goodness. That's too funny. That was some of the lessons learned. Don't do that. Even if that's our stuff, even if that's human made, quite obviously we have technology enough to lock on to the sender of said laser beam and fire an opposing beam. So don't do that. We were talking about this earlier. This is cat versus ghost. Yeah. Troubles. Now, I want you to keep an eye on what happens toward the end. And right. Oh, look at the curtain move. Oh, legit thing. And then the cat loses his mind again because I guess it comes back. But this cat's doing some, it's almost playing with it. Almost. See, it could be a phantom cat, ghost cat. We've seen ghost animals before. I just found this one kind of fun, especially that end bit where the ghost, ooh, and then the cat comes back. You see, he tracks him back over here. So yeah, that was fun. Although that motion at the end makes me think it may have been AI. This one is a piece of investigative gold. I'm going to just play it. We've all seen this footage before. It's a Union soldier or a soldier from the Civil War. He's still fighting the battle. Nope. I'll let it play again. I want you to watch this little black speck right here. See that little black speck right here? I'm circling it. Watch the speck. It's a speck on the windshield. Now, I want you to watch it again and look at this. It follows the speck. That, my friends, is a piece of, I don't know, water or a smudge on the glass. Okay. Yeah, that's what that is. That's not a haunted video of anything. Now, we've seen others videos of this particular site. So you think, oh, it's the same thing. No, it is not. That is a smudge on the window. It aligns with the speck. See that line? And it's consistent. Now, the guy in the car is doing this a little bit. But other than that, debunked. Fantastic. And it wasn't me who found that first. Someone else. They said, water smudge. And I was like, you're a brilliant detective. So, now, okay. So this is something I kind of wanted to briefly touch on, where you got to be careful with this, because while it may look like the footage is being enhanced, I'm seeing shifting. Okay, see, you completely read through it. So AI is supposed to be enhancing these things. You can't rely on it. Not for this stuff. Maybe for one or two things, but believe it or not, I think it's doing a lot of hedging and looking at just basic shapes and filling in gaps where it can't really see what's going on. So I'm going to have to dismiss the whole 4K, 144p to 4K thing. Yeah. Across the board. Oh, I'm so sorry. Pangabokni hand. A Bigfoot hand, apparently. Apparently. Anyway, we'll skip that. This one is fascinating. So we're going to watch this thing. Now, I could easily see this being looks like an antenna aerial, doesn't it? But you'll notice that one middle part retracts, which is fascinating. You'll watch it retract right about here. Oh yeah, the front one does too. So it changes the size of the canards. For starters, I've never known a alien vehicle or potential alien vehicle to need canards. Something tells me if this is anything, it's a high altitude device of human making. with retractable and or alterable wings to give you more or less drag. So, I mean, I don't see an engine plume on this thing. It could just be a glider type deal, but and I've never seen one with that many wings in my life, so this could be completely AI generated. But someone says this is from Chihuahua, Mexico. Yep, I said that correctly, completely on accident too. Back in 2011. Yeah. Again, it looks like an old TV aerial, and someone put that into the computer and messed with it. But yeah, we're talking about hidden vampires in Arnold's. We'll get that. We'll get to that one in a bit. I'm gonna go further up here to just added alien hybrids. Well, maybe. Okay, yeah. This one's fun. So the girl with the bunny ears, I forget her name. But David, I don't know, thought it was worth reposting. I did too. So this dude is driving along with a passenger, apparently. And you'll notice the passenger sometimes rocks a little bit. You know, like they're being driven along. And they got the weird eyes and all that fun stuff. And they're missing the lower jaw, as you can see. And they get a call from someone, from their dispatcher, because they have a camera facing in this view right here. No passengers. You can't have passengers. You're a delivery service, not a taxi. And the guy says, "What are you talking about?" And they say, "Well, we see it on camera. You have a passenger." "I don't have a passenger. I don't know what you're talking about." So he's completely oblivious, apparently. Never mind, he looks at the camera. So her idea is a little weird to me. So, yes, there is a person sitting in here. They are reacting to the road movement. They don't have a jaw. Something tells me CG. This has been an altered photo. They enhance the eyes and drug the neck extensions up to the lower jaw, to the maxilla. Maxilla, right? Any dentists out there? Anyway, fake. That's fun. I love debunking things. It's so much fun. Okay, this one's creepy, and it's been circulating too. So I'm going to zoom in on it. And they have a couple of stills there. But this person sees this walking down the street. Now, again, if CG, very, very well done. If AI, very well, surprisingly well done. Whoops, I hit the button. I gotta stop doing that. So I want them to play it out. I wish they play it out a little bit more, because they're making a lot of assumptions based on just this little move. But what I want to let you to look at is the shadow. Okay. The shadow's going that way, and they're just standing there. And as they walk in, you will notice, there we go, the shadow's a lot shorter than the thing. Something tells me this is also, and it gains a skirt. You'll notice this comes together, and suddenly he's wearing a skirt. AI messes up again. Good times, good times. And I'm not just here to do another debunk session, although this is a mishmash. If you have any questions, if you want to be on the air, if you want to tell us your story, I have to get the right part of the computer program where I can put up the banner again, and there's the banner. Plug that in. Hop online with me if you have something you want to discuss. Please, you are more than welcome. I will remind everyone to keep it clean. We cannot swear on this channel past the usual hell, damn it, and that's pretty much it. But all the other swear words are off the table. That's a talking one. I like visuals for you guys more. Oh, we'll talk about that one in a different show because that is a dive, let me tell you. Deep dive. That's about the guy who had the abilities of, um, well, basically Christ in the 60s. But he was also a super healer. He had like a Wolverine property. And every time someone would cut him or hurt him or shoot him or whatever, because he was attacked several times, apparently, he'd show up the next day completely fine. Wow. And in the end, he shows up in someone's office who ordered one, if not all, of these hits upon his person. And by hits, I mean assassination attempts. And he shows up whole and says, if me, I don't do this. If people, because when I come back, me and my brothers will not take it very well. I've been very patient with you. But again, we don't know if that's real. Yeah, the Gemini thing. Now, this is something I also wanted to cover. And you know what? It's been going around. Now, here's the kicker. I don't know how real this is because, and I'm going to ask a few people I know this weekend about the legitimacy of this because it hasn't come up other than the internet. I don't know if you're out there. Those of you who are churchgoers are going to know what I'm talking about, but apparently a bunch of pastors were told, it's like, there's a disclosure thing happening soon, and your idea of what happens is going to be, as far as creation and all that fun stuff, is going to be challenged. So, I don't know. They're real, and so it's going to be a big thing. We don't want your various and sundry faiths and parishioners to fly into a panic. So it sounds like they were coached on what to say. Now, this could be part of a planned thing. This could be part of a this could be part of a just a complete psyop because it seems to have fallen off the radar. But we'll go from there. We will go from there. Now, Boogosphere, man, that is just freaking weird. This is one of my favorites. Someone stuck fangs on a tiger in the middle of Colorado, apparently. Heidi, can you confirm this is Colorado with the snow in the background? Just curious. Wow, lots of chances. Anyway, Patsy's here. Woo. So this is a saber-tooth tiger. Now, they have been saying for a while, different governments, we're going to start bringing back the woolly mammoth. We're going to start bringing back this, that, and the other thing from ancient times because we have all the DNA to redo it, Jurassic Park style. Movies I know are fiction, but let's maybe learn a lesson that you didn't maybe consider all the problems that are going to arise from doing that. Never mind, I think that is completely a fake video. Let's see. There's something else I'm going to talk to you guys about. Okay, Elder describes a family of werewolves on land. We may have to listen to this one. Okay, hold on. I will turn on the video for this, the audio for this, because it's worth it. So I'm going to bring the mic down a little bit.
Well, there's a family of werewolves that comes out, and I can see them in the pastures sometimes. They come out from the wood line and kind of walk around, and then they go back in. And I said, Shane, a family of werewolves? He goes, oh, yeah, they're always out there. I said, really? I said, you sure they're werewolves? How do you know they're werewolves? She goes, well, I see them. They have long noses and they're standing up and they're walking around and there's 2 or 3 or 4 of them and they come in and out and they never come up to the house. They never bothered me, but I was like, huh. Yeah. No, I was really kind of surprised because she was like the sweetest, like school marm. But when she goes, oh yeah, absolutely, the family of werewolves. I was like, the what? And
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
and she just and I was like, are you serious? She goes, oh yeah. I mean, I see them like maybe 2 or 3 times a year, but they're out there. I said, huh? Just leave them alone. They leave me alone. And that was her whole vibe. And I thought that was kind of interesting. She's like, well,
That speaks directly to what we were talking about with Michelle and these beings being out there. So this is from, to give credit, from the Shadows podcast, and Shane Grove, who was the author, and I think this is him. Anyway, we'll call that Shane Grove that we're talking to. So special thanks to them for sharing that with the world and us. That's fantastic. And that speaks directly to what I got a family of werewolves living on my property. Are you kidding me? That's amazing. That's wow. Show me that trail camera footage. Capture something. Okay. Sorry, there was another one. And I'm thinking of it, but I don't know if the image is the placeholder image or not. Maybe this is it.
Actually, I'll start with the one that my son had, which was the first. My 2 boys were about 13 and 8 at the time. We were up there on a weekend to do some dirt bike riding and camping. And we'd stopped near Dixon Lake on a wide spot on the logging road to pull the truck off, unload the bikes, and possibly set up camp for the evening. While we were doing that, the younger boy was in the back of the truck passing items out to me. The older one was untying the bikes from the trailer so we could unload them. And he started to call out to me, Dad, 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 impatient 13-year-old kind of thing. And I was sort of ignoring him because I was busy, but he was so insistent. I stepped around the back of the truck and he was pointing up the hillside, a clear cut that went about 200 yards up from the road to the timberline. And I kind of followed his arm up where he was pointing, couldn't see anything. I was looking at the middle of the clear cut. And I said, where? He said, right at the timberline. So I looked up a little higher. And just as I looked up, I just saw one disappear into the timberline. So I said to him, oh, you saw a bear? And he said, well, that's what I thought. But it was down on the ground, and then it stood up. And then it started stepping over logs along the timberline until it stepped into the bush. And I said, well, bears can stand up, but they can't walk like that. He said, no, he was walking like us. So that was his first experience. And the first experience I had, although I couldn't determine what it was. All I saw was black fur disappearing into the bush. Actually, I'll start with the one that
Sasquatch Quest episode 2 is where that's from, and I don't know the gentleman's name, but I will say that is a fascinating story and also lends to what we were talking about. I want to hear that story about the baby wolf man or dog man. That's amazing. So is it more like a puppy or more like a baby at that point? I don't know, but I'm interested. Yeah, ring camera footage is suspicious. Oh, excuse me. The Bennington Triangle stories.
Keep in mind, I've shuttled hundreds of people, and I asked him, "What's your best story on the trail?" But the very next day, I picked up a boyfriend and a girlfriend. I said, "What's your best story?" And they just tilted their head. They weren't sure what I was saying. I said, "Anything." And I said, "I'll give you an example," because it was right in the back of my head. I said, "Yesterday, I brought a girl up to the airport because she was so scared and she heard a baby crying." And they turned their heads and looked right at each other. And they're going, "We had the same thing happen to us at Goddard Shelter." And I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. And they were shocked, it was just really interesting. And then the boyfriend goes, "I saw Bigfoot." And his girlfriend, she didn't say she saw it. She wouldn't say it was Bigfoot, but she said she saw something moving. They just came out with this story. And it was the very next day after that girl's story. I was shocked. It's certainly one of those Bennington Triangle stories for sure. Keep in mind,
Bennington Triangle, for those who don't know, is that little spot in Vermont where the Pukwudgie are, and there's Bigfoot stuff, and there's a whole bunch of high strangers out in that area. Between Vermont, or chiefly in Vermont, I believe. And this is also a small town monsters. We just heard about them from Michelle. So I think I'll follow them. I am now following small town monsters. Anyway, they didn't, but okay. So there's all kinds of weird stuff else happening out there. But I'm going to kind of go back to what we were talking about with Michelle in that, and in fact, I got it here somewhere. I'll have that story recounted for you. And there's a lot of AI animation involved with it. Just a fair warning. But, you'll see the image when I find it. Assuming I'm going in the right direction, I think I am. But you'll see the werewolf's head sticking through a truck window. And by the way, that story is amazing because a semi-truck cab is roughly 9 to 10 feet off the ground at the top. So that top portion, that driver's sitting, his butt's probably at about, what, 6 foot, maybe, right? The 6 foot mark. So you have to climb up to get into these things, and this thing's trucking along and looking in the window like it's nothing. That's just an amazing story. And it is here somewhere. Maybe if I scroll a little faster, I'll find it faster. There it is. Okay. So we'll listen to this guy's
the size of my window, and he was trucking along next to me, and he was looking down inside of my cab, and I'm at 9 feet tall. I was hearing a vocalization that wasn't natural. I got in the truck, started driving, and as I looked in my right side mirror, with a wolf head, his yellow eyes were darting all over the place. I had a gun and I just pulled it and shot twice, and it went
357.
So I turned around. As I was coming back, I'm looking right where that werewolf was laying. It was gone now, and there was a Jeep parked, and there was a man and a woman there, and they were just looking at me a little bewildered. I was detained. A couple of federal officials said, "You killed one of our assets, and this is how things are going to go down from this point on." They took my gun, and they shut my bank account off. They keep people quiet, and I'm just not going to stay quiet because too many people are getting killed by these things and don't even know they're out there because of the suppression from the government.
So that was the guest that Michelle had on her show with Two Real something or other. Two Real ghost stories, Two Real cryptids, right? I can't remember. Because I'm bad at remembering stuff like that. But still, I mean, that's just amazing. That guy's story, I mean, the implications of that is just insane. Not only does it, presuming it's truth, not only does it suppose that the government knows about these creatures, but is weaponizing these creatures, perhaps, as we discussed earlier, using our soldiers to become these creatures, because, we're assuming that these are humans with a weird mutation to them, that they turn into these, kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde thing, but with werewolves. So you turn to a dog-like creature, enhanced senses, and all the rest of it. Which would be, in and of itself, a revelation, because you just lent credence to something on the order of about 1,000 years worth of myth, supposed myth. Oh, check that. Way longer. More like 4,000 to 5,000 years worth of myth. Supposed myth. I say again. So there's something to be said for all that. I mean, crap, you were 15. Yeah, it is creepy, Heidi. Crap, I was 15 seconds behind. I don't know what that means, but okay. I'm sorry, Heidi, that happened to you. But maybe we should break this down. Let's break this down. So 5,000 years ago, these creatures were a reality. We're going to go with that premise, that these creatures are an absolute reality. And let's start with one of the creation myths, if you prefer, if you'll allow me to call it that. Creation stories. When it comes to the werewolf, I did a show on this a while back, but I'll repeat the information. So according to Greek myth, the werewolf was given life, as you might want to call it, because a king invited the god Zeus to dinner. And to test that Zeus was truly godly and all-powerful, or as powerful as he claimed to be at the very least. Sorry, that shadow's ticking me off, so I keep doing this. If the internet is just not catching up with me, I'll be still. To prove that Zeus was godly, he dressed and or mixed the flesh of one of his slaves into the meat of a deer or a bull or a cow. I can't remember now. Maybe a pig. No, not a pig. It was a deer, I think. Anyway, and if the god could taste the difference, well, by all means, he would devote him. The king would devote himself and his family and his armies to the worship of Zeus. Zeus sits down and doesn't even have to take a bite. It says, "You put a human in this? You expect me to eat the people how's that going to look if I eat the people I one created to love?" Has a lot of crossover with a few other religious things, but again, this is the story of how the werewolf was created. So, Zeus goes on to just pretty much land-base this guy. Not literally, but close enough. Oh, I see. Gotcha, Heidi. I just picked up on what you were saying. And then says, because you tried to treat me like a dog, you get to be a dog. And pretty much snaps his fingers and turns this king into a beast. Half man, half wolf. Not more than one of another. And said beast loses all of its humanity and stalks his family. Kills them. And Zeus says, "All right, I'm out," and pops away. Meanwhile, this werewolf runs loose and creates all kinds of havoc and trouble and people trying to hunt him down, but he's biting them. And every time he bites them, yep, you guessed it, they become one of those beasts themselves. They didn't really have there was Lucan. Oh, shoot. I can't remember my Latin all of a sudden, or my Greek for that matter. But wolf. So they became wolves and they ran in packs, and that's apparently, at least according to the Greeks, how the werewolf came about. And that was something on the order of, what, 4,000 or 5,000 years ago? Ancient Greece? Interesting. But yeah, I mean, let's take that as the basis of this purported reality and apply it to today. Okay, so if it's a bite or a scratch, whatever it is, like we've seen in movies and heard in legends and all that fun stuff. Heck, there's one part of a legend that says if you drink from the water, this is a gross one, drink from the water that collects in the paw print of a werewolf, you can be turned. That's a crazy one. That one goes, makes me cock my head more so than the others. But if we're talking about some sort of viral infection or bacterial infection or even fungal infection from the bite, probably bacterial, possibly viral, but usually bites involve bacteria when it comes to mammals or something approaching a mammal. Good story, huh, Heidi? Yeah, she just chimed in on it. Yeah, it's a great story. And I'm going to remove the banner since none of you took me up on it, the idea, but that's okay. We had a great conversation with Michelle. But so let's track this forward. Yes, a bite and or scratch, depending, can turn you into one of these creatures. Apparently, you can shift at one point or another between being human and being a wolf. Later lore, primarily in the European sector, says that the moon is the trigger for the transformation. That may hold true, that may not. Even more modern tellings of that story hold that there could be exceptions to that rule. Let's presume that for whatever reason, those modern day myth makers, storytellers, filmmakers, for example, television shows too, take that into consideration because there is a factor of truth. Now, okay, let's step away from the fictitious for a second and maintain our path to this idea. So, ancient Greece has an idea of how this happened. Whether it was done by a god or someone doing alchemical work, we really don't know the absolute origins. Egypt, an older culture, has something similar, although theirs is also done by the punishment of a god. Could we be talking ancient aliens here? We could be. I really couldn't speak to that. But let's take what we got, and we have a person that turns into a dog, bites another person, they turn into dogs if they don't eviscerate them outright and turn them into, well, a snack. Now you have a pack roaming around, now you have dog men roaming around, and now you have what are either these dog men or werewolves, at large. If they're able to shift and control that shift generation to generation, okay, now you have a tactical advantage over, say, whoever is against you as a king, as a mayor, as a whatever. You have a tactical advantage because you got these guys who can change virtually at will into these beasts that you have a modicum of control over. One would think generation to generation improvements in the genetic code and all that fun stuff would improve both the animal and human interaction. That is, they might even be able to speak like you and me in this hybrid form. that they don't go completely to wolf anymore. They're at this hybrid space, monster style, like the classic werewolf, or the wolf man, or the dog man, or however it is you want to think about it. Modern day, we just saw the trucker guys thing. Gets a visit from Homeland and says, "You killed one of our assets." Gives him a pretty nasty slap on the wrist. I mean, freezes his bank accounts and a few other things. And still, they are out there. We heard the story about, there's a pack of werewolves that lives in my backyard. All this happening in remote places, I might add. A forest road, a remote farm and or ranch and or acreage out in the forest. Michelle has these creatures on her property. Or something very close to it, if not Dogman Sasquatch, although she's heard of both being in the area. So having them become assets, having them, if the mechanism of converting a regular old human into this hybrid creature is simply to have them bitten, I doubt they'd have that happen. Modern day, no, they take everything from a syringe. Oh, infected blood, uninfected blood, injection, new infected soldier. Probably run them through a training program, get them used to their situation. There was also, I wish I had it, because I wish I knew the story. Today's thing was going in this direction. But there was an episode of Love, Death, and Robots that explored this very thing, where werewolves were used as, special forces operators in, I think they actually put it in Iraq. It's like, okay, we're pinned down, we can't get out of it. Wolf out and go get him. Okay. And so he transforms right there, gallops off, takes out the enemy, yada, yada, yada. And comes back and shifts. And it's like, okay, well, that was fun. I'm in the mood for a steak all of a sudden. They got to feed him more than most soldiers or something like that. But it was interesting. They actually tackled that in this animated piece and were allowed to put it on the air. And I say allowed because, well, there's a lot of censorship and editing in the television and film world today. No one is letting you see what they don't want you to see. Not anymore. Unless they're independent and they can get away with it at, say, an independent festival. And your stuff gets shown. It's like, oh, that's a crazy idea. I didn't know that would work. Didn't know that was that. Or, you show it in a narrative format that has beginning, middle, and heroes and villains and so on and so forth. And you just, it's cleverly, if not obviously, disguised as such, as a story versus a potential truth. And there's more and more people popping up saying, oh my gosh, it was predictive programming the whole time. You see this movie? You see this television show? Or something along those lines? You see what they're saying? That was 10 years ago. They were telling us the truth about this, that, or the other thing this whole time. And yeah, that does happen. That does happen. And it's unfortunate. And it's diabolical. I mean, why on... I am still confused on this point, and I get we have to protect ourselves and the national interest, no matter what national interest that may be. And yeah, I'm not just talking about the U.S. I'm talking about a lot of countries that pull this stuff up all the time. It would be... I mean, yeah, it's just... It's unnecessary. Maybe back in the day where everyone was afraid of getting their brains eaten by Martians or whatever. But again, that was Hollywood telling one version of a story, and I think largely that's when all that control kind of kicked in. Although it didn't. It was in place. There was a lot of propaganda films made back in the 30s and 40s. So, having said all that, I think is a possibility that these werewolf assets are out there. It makes sense. Do we have the technology to actually pull this off? Yeah, I think we do. Is shape shifting, because that's what it is, folks. I mean, you're going from one state to another, Jekyll and Hyde style, werewolf style. I mean, that's a monumental shift and a huge burden on the body. Although, if this infection or venom or whatever it is can actually alter you to absorb that kind of metamorphic damage, if you'll allow, maybe that's one thing or another. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm at the end of my time. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you with me today. I want to thank Michelle DeRoche for joining me on the air, and thank all of you watching and listening for joining me as well. My name's Tim Sedano. This has been Paranormal Insight, and we'll see you next week. If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to discuss on the show, please email us at paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. That's paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com.